This is the OTB Network.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Horses and Courses. I'm Jean Wood. We are set to take a look at some great racing from over the course of the weekend, and we will start things out at Calder Racecourse. They opened their extensive meet that begins, of course, now we go all the way through to the end of the year at Calder down in Florida, but they did have a nice stake on their opening day card, the Grade 3 Miami Mile on the turf.
And they're off, and Jet Propulsion hopped slightly at the start, and he was actually outbroken by the field. He's going to try to rush through now after that step-slow beginning. Good start, though, for Pinckney Hill, and he's on the inside of Fearless Eagle. And these two have found themselves on the front end with 1 lap to go. Mambo Meister runs along in third, and Jet Propulsion is going to take back just in behind the lead now after the bad start, and he's in between runners with Pleasant Strike down along the hedge going around the clubhouse turn. They're followed by March to Victory. He's about 6 lengths off the lead. Stormcaller in behind him, and Stones River is the trailer. He's got 8.5 lengths to make up. The opening quarter pretty slow. 24 seconds flat for these good runners, and they're up the backstretch with Fearless Eagle showing the way. It's Fearless Eagle let alone on this slow pace. Paco Lopez has him in front by about 1.5 lengths. Pinckney Hill is sitting the trip second, and Jet Propulsion really tapping on the brakes now as he is running up on the heels of Fearless Eagle going to the half-mile pole. Mambo Meister runs along fourth. He's now got about 5 lengths to come, and they go that opening half 47-2, so the second quarter quicker than the first for Fearless Eagle, and his lead is just under a length. Pinckney Hill just there on his outside, and now Jet Propulsion's going to try once again. He's forced 3 wide. Really an eventful trip thus far for Jet Propulsion. He's asked for his best now, but Pinckney Hill's got a better trip so far, and Pinckney Hill's going to go on with it. Pinckney Hill up to engage Fearless Eagle as they come down to the final furlong. It's Pinckney Hill. Rajiv Mirage now shakes him up, and he kicks clear. Mambo Meister is firing from the back of the pack. March to Victory and Pleasant Strike. Here comes Mambo Meister at Pinckney Hill. That one too tight to call in the Miami Mile. Mambo Meister, Pinckney Hill. Pleasant Strike was third.
Mambo Meister, good to see this guy getting back in the winner's circle. A pretty high-quality horse, been around for a good long time. And after an 8th place finish last out to Courageous Cat in the Canadian turf, they gave him a little bit of a freshening. His prior try had been a 13-length loss in the Don on the dirt quality road, and perhaps he was due for a little bit of rest. Comes back and scores by a game head over Pinckney Hill, the favorite, who was in off a couple of very strong allowance races at Gulfstream Park. Churchill Downs shipper, first time off the layoff since last fall. Pleasant Strike rounds out the top 3. The winner, Mambo Meister, is a bay gelding, a son of King Cougat, from Blue's Little Secret by Desert Secret, bred in Kentucky by J.R. Kavanaugh, owned by Quantum Racing Team Number 1 Limited, and trained by Phil Gleaves, ridden to victory by Manny Cruz. Mambo Meister covers the mile in 1:35.04. We'll head to Keeneland now to round out the Keeneland Stakes program for their spring meeting. We'll head back to last Thursday. Fillies and mares going 1.5 miles in the Grey Goose Bewitch.
And they're off in the Grey Goose Bewitch. Magical Theater comes out for the early lead, clears the inside traffic, goes right to the front. Lady Shakespeare and Changing Skies moving up from the outside, and there goes Changing Skies in between horses, and Changing Skies being sent to the lead, moving into the far turn for the first time. Changing Skies will lead it by 1.5 lengths. Lady Shakespeare goes second on the outside by a head. Magical Theater now fights back and regains that second spot here in the early going. Sweet and Flawless is fourth down toward the rail, and then Floating Heart fifth on her outside, and Hanty Cat is next on the outside, and She's Adorable last and tucked away neatly at the back as they move to the top of the stretch the first time, with Changing Skies the leader. Changing Skies leads it by 2. Lady Shakespeare is next up on the outside of Magical Theater. Then Floating Heart between horses. Sweet and Flawless toward the inside, and a Hanty Cat who stays toward the far outside next to last. She's Adorable is the trailer. 27 seconds the time for that opening quarter. 53 seconds for the first half mile. 1 circuit remaining here, and Changing Skies and Kent DeSormo show the way. Lead it by 3 lengths. Lady Shakespeare goes second a half length. Magical Theater third toward the inside, moving into the second of 3 turns. And then Floating Heart, Sweet and Flawless, Niantic Cat on the outside. She's Adorable is last, heading to the back stretch. Changing Skies continues to show the way. Leads it by just over 2 lengths to Lady Shakespeare, who's side by side with Magical Theater. Now they start to close that gap on the leader. Floating Heart rates in behind them. That one flanked by Niantic Cat. Then She's Adorable far outside, who's next to last. Sweet and Flawless, the trailer. 7 tightly packed horses, midpoint of the back stretch, and the Grey Goose Bewitched through 6 furlongs in 1 minute 18 and 1/5 seconds, and they're all chasing Changing Skies. Lady Shakespeare just off the leader's flank now in second. Magical Theater third toward the inside. That one flanked by Niantic Cat, who moves into fourth, still 3 lengths off the lead. Floating Heart fifth toward the rail. She's Adorable next to last, and Sweet and Flawless the trailer. Into the final turn, Changing Skies still the leader, a length and a half. Lady Shakespeare giving chase but second. Magical Theater third toward the inside, a quarter mile to come. And then She's Adorable, Floating Heart between horses. Niantic Cat now next to last. Sweet and Flawless last. And Changing Skies the leader by 2.5 lengths. Lady Shakespeare second on the outside. They're coming to the 8th pole. Changing Skies put to a drive. Lady Shakespeare coming at her from the outside. Final furlong of the Grey Goose Bewitched. Lady Shakespeare to the lead, past Changing Skies in second. Sweet and Flawless goes toward third, with Magical Theater fourth. At the line, Lady Shakespeare and John Velasquez take the feature. Then it was Changing Skies home second, followed by Sweet and Flawless and Magical Theater.
Lady Shakespeare off to very close seconds in her last 2 starts, both at Gulfstream. In the Orchid and the Marshawas River, here gets the victory by 2.5 lengths, going away over the pace setter Changing Skies, with Sweet and Flawless rallying from well back at 26-1 to complete the order of the top 3. The winner, Lady Shakespeare, is a 4-year-old chestnut daughter of theatrical from Lady Cheryl by That's a Nice, bred in Kentucky by Charles Fipke and owned by the breeder, trained by Roger Atfield and ridden to victory by John Velasquez. Full sister to Grade 1 winner Shakespeare, Lady Shakespeare, scores the 1.5 miles in 2:31.42. We'll head right back to Keeneland and we'll round out their spring meeting with the 1.5 miles, 5th, 3rd Elkhorn for older horses.
Hello.
And they're off in the 5th, 3rd Elkhorn. Timeless Fashion comes out for the lead from the inside, along with Tigers Rock and Sudden War. There goes Sudden War moving up alongside of Timeless Fashion. Bear Path joins them 3rd, caught to the far outside, moving into the far turn for the first time. Expansion is 4th between horses. Tigers Rock settles back into 5th, Ascertained a wide 6th. Pick 6 moves along with that one. And then Musketeer, who changes lanes off the rail, moves toward the outside, just over 5 lengths from the early lead, followed by Demarcation. Blushing Bear, gap of 3 back to Transduction Gold, and Brass Hat trails as they move to the top of the stretch for the first time. Timeless Fashion is the leader, a length and a half to Sudden War, who goes second. Ascertained third far outside. Then Bear Path, who's 4th between horses. Expansion 5th up close down toward the rail. Pick 6 is 6th on the outside. Tigers Rock 7th. Musketeer goes 8th. And then Demarcation is 9th with 1 circuit remaining. Blushing Bear is 10th. Gap of 3 back to Transduction Gold 11th. And Brass Hat 12th and last. 25 and 3/5 seconds for the first quarter. 51-1 for the opening half mile. And Timeless Fashion is the leader, moving to the second of 3 turns. Timeless Fashion on top by 3/4 of a length. Sudden War stalks the pace on the outside second. Expansion carefully moves up the inside, has another ground-saving trip around the turn in 3rd. Ascertained 4th on the outside. Pick 6 is 5th on the far outside, heading onto the back stretch. And then further back, it's Bear Path back toward the rail, flanked by Musketeer. Now Musketeer moves toward the outside, 4 lengths off the lead. Up front, Timeless Fashion, Sudden War, Pick 6 on the far outside up to press the issue. Ascertained goes 4th, Expansion 5th, Musketeer 6th, Bear Path is 7th, then Demarcation 8th, Blushing Bear 9th, Tigers Rock is now 10th, heading for the far turn, then Transduction Gold, and Brass Hat is last, 1:16-1 for 6 furlongs. Timeless Fashion, Pick 6, contest the lead with Sudden War. In between those two, still there in 3rd, and now Sudden War carefully moves up into the 2nd position between horses. Timeless Fashion, Sudden War, Pick 6 far outside. Expansion is next, then Ascertained and Musketeer. Musketeer is sixth out in the center of the course, still 3 lengths from the front. Then demarcation, just over a quarter mile to come. Timeless Fashion with the lead by almost a length. Pick 6 is next. Sudden War is still third. Musketeer fourth. Expansion in close down toward the inside behind the leader, but fifth. Coming to the 8th pole, Musketeer strives forward to take the lead from Pick 6. Blushing Bear runs late to third. Musketeer kicks on in the final furlong of the 5th. Third Elkhorn leads it by 3. Back to Blushing Bear. Brass Hat is running late, running fast, but here comes the line, and Musketeer will take it for John Velasquez. Brass Hat with a big run for second, then Blushing Bear third, Expansion fourth.
Musketeer gets back to the winner's circle. It had been a little bit of time since he had picked up a win, but he'd been running against good horses throughout most of last year. Last performance on the track, he was beaten 14 lengths in the Turf Classic at Belmont Park on October 3rd, given plenty of time. Interesting race for this horse, who had shown a good amount of speed in many of his good performances. Here he ends up rallying from off the pace, as forced by a little bit of a slow start. He was a little bit rank early. John Velasquez had to work hard to get him to settle in, but once he started to kick, he cleared horses very quickly and scored going away by 1 3/4 lengths over Brass Hat, with Blushing Bear back in third. The winner, Musketeer, is a Greyer-Roan son of a Catenango from Myth and Reality by Linamix. Bred in Germany by Gestut Gerlsdorf and owned by Johanna Louise Glenteven. Trained by Roger Atfield and ridden to victory by John Velasquez, Musketeer covers the 1.5 miles in 2:31.32. Keeneland is wrapped up for the spring, so it must be time to head to Churchill Downs. Opening day on Saturday, and the stakes feature the Cliff's Edge Derby Trial.
In the gate, and they're off in the Derby Trial. 85 and a 50 did not get an alert beginning, and it was Hear You got the first bob towards the inside, Miners Reserve, and then on the outside 85 and a 50 is now flashing that usual early speed. Hurricane Ike's towards the inside rail, racing in fourth. Wow 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 is in fifth. Break of 2 lengths to Game On Dude, who's now racing in sixth, and a long break back to Pleasant Prince and Aconite as they go midway down the back stretch. And it's Ramon Dominguez, an 85 and a 50, who takes them towards the 5/8. He's out in front through a quarter of 22 and 3. 85 and a 50 is out in front by a length and a tail now. To the inside, Hurricane Ike is racing in second. Now there's a break of 2 lengths to Game On Dude to the inside in third. Miners Reserve is in fourth. Wow 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 is on the outside, 4 wide, racing in fifth. Hear Ye already begins to back out of it. Now being stoked up is Pleasant Prince with only 1 behind, and that's Aconite. 3 furlongs to go in the 86 Derby Trial, and it's 85 and a 50 who's out in front, skimming the rail, the inside Burrell. Hurricane Ike lays it down to 85 and a 50 to the inside. Game On Dude sweeping wide. Aconite comes on from the back of the pack and is a danger to them all against the rail. Hurricane Ike goes for glory. He's out in front by 2 lengths now. Aconite down the outside, setting sail, and now takes dead aim on Hurricane Ike. They've got a 16 to go. Hurricane Ike repelling Aconite as they race up towards the line. Calvin Burrell's first win in the Derby Trial. 5 on the day for Burrell. Hurricane Ike takes the Cliff's Edge Derby Trial. Aconite was second. Pleasant Prince stayed on for third, followed by 85 and a 50, and Game On Dude next.
Hurricane Ike gets the victory. We last saw him running a good second to 85 and a 50 in the Bayshore in New York on the Wood Memorial undercard. This looked like a good spot for him, and he handled things very nicely. That was his dirt debut. Here he comes back, tries dirt, and he sealed muddy dirt track, and a very nice effort with a cagey ride once again on the inside, although when you've got 85 and a 50 in front of you, you can typically count on being able to go inside without it being tightened up too much. Aconite rallies well from off the pace to run in the second spot, with Pleasant Prince back in third, and unfortunately for the connections of Pleasant Prince, he was not quite able to earn enough money to get himself a spot in the Kentucky Derby, but an 85 and a 50 obviously does not either by finishing in the 4th spot here after showing good speed. But a nice performance by Hurricane Ike, who looks like a pretty solid middle distance type of 3-year-old. The winner, Hurricane Ike, is a dark bay or brown colt by Graham Hall from Parental Uproar by Future Storm. Bred in Florida by Stanley Beaulieu and owned by Ike and Dawn Thrash, trained by John Sadler and ridden to victory by Calvin Burrell, who won 5 on opening day at Churchill Downs. Hurricane Ike covers the 1 mile in 136.35. We'll pause for a brief message. When we return, we'll be heading to Lone Star Park in Texas for a trio of stakes and much more. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Horses and Courses. We'll continue now in Texas, Lone Star Park on Saturday with a trio of stakes races. We'll kick things off with the Grand Prairie Turf Challenge.
They're off in the Grand Prairie Turf Challenge. Decent start. Cape San Blas and Bronze Fox came out well from the outside. Nobody is too earnest, though. Angel on My Shoulder now takes a narrow lead. Right there is Precious Colony. Then it's Deal Breaker, 4 off the lead. Dr. Brash, second last, and Gretzky is at the rear. They arrive now at the clubhouse turn. The leader is Angel on My Shoulder, not going a fast pace, but leads in front by about a length. Precious Colony's racing second. Deal Breaker saving ground on the inside of Bronze Fox. They're third and fourth. Now a length and a half back to Cape San Blas. On the outside, Gretzky advancing, gets up within 5 lengths of the lead, and Dr. Brash is last, but not too far back. They run on to the backstretch, and the leader is Angel on My Shoulder, just loafing, doing it easily, no pressure, 2 in front. Precious Colony second, a length and a half. Bronze Fox on the outside, now taking third. Deal Breaker is still right there. And a length and a half back to Gretzky racing on the outside. Dr. Brash at the rail, and Cape San Blas between them. They run now for the far turn. Angel on My Shoulder just picked it up a bit right there. Does lead by 2, still going nicely. Precious Colony second. Deal Breaker coming on in third. Gretzky's going to have to go wide. Dr. Brash at the rail. Then Bronze Fox and Cape San Blas. They race at the quarter pole. Angel on My Shoulder still breezing. Must be challenged. Now Deal Breaker coming on under the whip. But Angel on My Shoulder's got something left at the top of the lane. Precious Colony and Deal Breaker trying to close there on the outside. An eighth to go. Angel on My Shoulder fully extended and Deal Breaker pushing by. And Deal Breaker's got it. Deal Breaker and Martin Garcia going away in the Grand Prairie Turf Challenge. Precious Colony got up second. Angel on My Shoulder third. And Dr. Brash ran fourth.
Deal Breaker gets the victory. A nice effort as the odds-on choice from just off the pace, winning away from Precious Colony with Angel on My Shoulder, showing good speed and holding on for third. The winner, Deal Breaker, in off a second-place finish last time out in a solid Keeneland allowance race in mid-April, picks up the victory. He is a chestnut gelding by Night Shift out of Photo Flash by Bahamian Bounty, bred in Great Britain by David Jameson Bloodstock, owned by Jimmy Ukagawa and trained by Mike Mitchell, ridden to victory by Martin Garcia. Deal Breaker covers the mile on the Lone Star Turf in 1:35.66. Next up, older horses in the Grade 3 Texas Mile.
They're off in the Texas Mile to a great start. Euro Ears with the tap of the whip goes right to the early lead. Jonesboro on the inside second. Mythical Power is third, and King Dan caught just a touch wide. Then it's Harlan Street. 15 Love second last. Only 2 lengths off the lead. They're bunched in a gap of 4 back to Star Guitar. Now they take the clubhouse turn in Euro Ears. They have to be happy with this lead right here. Visually, it's pretty good with 6 furlongs to go. He looks comfortable, 3 parts of a length in front. Mythical Power takes a good spot in second. King Dan now racing third, and Jonesboro on the inside of him. A length and a half back to 15 Love, getting up within 3 lengths of the lead, and Harlan Street to his outside. A gap of 4 back to Star Guitar, the trailer. Going down the backstretch, 4.5 furlongs to go. Euro Ears doing it nicely, leads Mythical Power right to his outside in second. It's a gap of 2 back to King Dan in third. Jonesboro's on a loose rein, is being asked to keep up right now, but not doing so at this point. Has been passed by both 15 Love and Harlan Street. Star Guitar also coming under a drive, but is making hard work about 7 off the lead. Now they're at the final turn. Euro Ears and Mythical Power still 1-2. King Dan now coming under a ride. On the inside comes 15 Love, then Harlan Street. Star Guitar's got those 7 to make up. Racing at the top of the stretch in the Texas Mile. Euro Ears is game, but now Mythical Power doing his best running. And these two lay it down for the final 1/8 of a mile. They're still clear. It is still Euro Ears and Mythical Power. What a race. Euro Ears on the inside. Mythical Power to the outside. A complete showdown. Mythical Power beats Euro Ears by a neck in the Texas Mile, and 15 Love finished third.
Mythical Power, 2 for 2 at Lone Star, having won the Lone Star Derby here last year. Hadn't managed to hit the board since. In a couple of races back was actually, or in his last race rather, was behind Deal Breaker on the synthetic out in California. That was back in February, prior to a bit of a freshening. He comes back fresh. He comes back at a track where he's already a proven commodity and stakes company and wins by a neck over Euro Ears, who was stretching out to a mile, always a pretty solid sprinter, who now has tried a mile and run fairly well, getting caught late by a fairly good horse. 15 Love completes the top 3. The winner, Mythical Power, is a bay 4-year-old son of Congaree from School for Scandal by Is It True? Bred in Kentucky by Peachtree Stable, owned by the breeder and trained by Bob Baffert, ridden to victory by Martin Garcia. Mythical Power covers the mile in 1:35.71. Next up, we'll head on to the turf course, the Irving Distaff for fillies and mares at 7.5 furlongs.
They're off, and the Irving Distaff looked like a good start. Hot Atlantic bounces out with Bubbler. The inside 2 take the lead. Dancin' Perfect came away in third. Then it's Issei, Dream Along, and Slide On By. To the inside, Category 7 is saving ground off the pace. Minute Limit is caught about 3 deep. Then Love to Tell. Shine Softly had a steady off heels, and Jahan brings up the rear early. Around the clubhouse turn, and as expected, Hot Atlantic doing her thing, showing all the speed. She leads by nearly 2. Bubbler is racing in second. Dancin' Perfect third. Issei is in a good spot fourth. Then back to Slide On By and Category 7. Outside of that comes Dream Along and the White Blinkers, now being asked to keep up. About to be passed by both Minute Limit and Love to Tell. They're about 8 lengths off the lead. 3 further back to Jahan, and Shine Softly is now last. They run down the backstretch, and Hot Atlantic, a reasonable pace for her. She can do this, leads it now by 2. Bubbler tries to cut back into that lead. Then it's Dancin' Perfect, Issei, Category 7, Slide On By on the inside. Minute Limit's back there with that red cap. Has got 6 lengths to make up, though. Love to Tell on the inside of her. They race now at the quarter pole. Hot Atlantic is only just in front. Bubbler comes to take her on. Issei's got a shot in third, and coming with a late bid there, Dancin' Perfect, Minute Limit, Slide On By. Now to the final furlong. Bubbler finds the front. It is Bubbler. And Bubbler going on with it here. Dancin' Perfect, Slide On By. Issei all chasing. Bubbler, Slide On By. Issei, Dancing Perfect. It's Bubbler in the Irving Distaff. Slide On By was second. Photo for Show, Dancin' Perfect, and Issei.
Bubbler getting the win. A nice filly. She's 6 for 8 lifetime, having been undone a couple of times when trying more graded stakes type company. But when spotted well, as she was here, she usually gets the victory. 3/4 of a length, this time over 51-1 long shot Slide On By, with Hissy completing the order of the top 3. Last time out, she won by 12, this time only by 3/4 of a length, but it's still considered a win. Bubbler is a dark bay or brown filly, a daughter of Distorted Humor from Greshell by Deputy Minister. Bred in Kentucky by Doozy Stable and owned by the breeders, trained by Brett Calhoun, and ridden to victory by Eddie Martin Jr. Bubbler covers the 7.5 on the turf in 1:28.58. We'll head to Canada now and stakes racing action on Sunday. 3-year-old sprinters in the Woodstock.
They're off in the Woodstock Stakes. Wildcat Frankie, keen out there from that outside break. A Fearless Cowboy comes on in the center, Essence Hitman generally shows early speed, comes on at the rail, and Garrity is back in fourth. Then we have Bears Hard 10 in fifth position, City Trooper and Dees Wando. And it's Sutherland and Essence Hitman as they make their way to the far turn 22-1 for that opening quarter mile. Essence Hitman watched closely by Fearless Cowboy. Wildcat Frankie's on the outside, now third. Sent up in between horses is Gary D. Dees Wando has improved to fifth, just 4.5 lengths off the lead. Then Bears Hard 10 and City Trooper. Essence Hitman drilled a half in 44-4. Essence Hitman into the stretch, still under a hand ride, now feels the whip a little bit at the 8th pole. It's Essence Hitman. Here comes Bears Hard 10 with a big run on the far outside. Essence Hitman. Dees Wando's closing at the rail. Essence Hitman huge in the Woodstock over Dees Wando and Bears Hard 10 in 108-3.
Essence Hitman back off of the layoff. He had not seen action since last November 22nd, right here at Woodbine, when he scored an allowance race over his fellow 2-year-olds. He returns victorious with a front-end victory by 3/4 of a length over the late-charging Dees Wando. Bears Hard 10 completes the order of the top 3. The winner, Essence Hitman, is a chestnut gelding, a son of Speightstown from El Prado Essence by El Prado. Bred in Ontario by A&G Capacity, owned by the breeders and trained by Audrey Capacity. Ridden to victory by Chantal Sutherland, Essence Hitman covers the 6 in 108.66. Next up, we'll head out to Northern California, Golden Gate, on Saturday afternoon, the home of the Grade 2 San Francisco Mile.
It's a glaring omission on his resume. Racing. Bold Chieftain is off best. Lands in the front of Run It, Golden Balls, Monterey Jazz. Sir Al the inside, Red Sun coming right down the outskirts and has his head into front when they reach the judges. At the 7/8 pole, and it's Red Sun and now Monterey Jazz coming through to match him, and they kick clear by 2 lengths to Golden Balls. Bold Chieftain finds a lovely spot, 4th one off the rail. Sir Al 5th along the inside of Run It. That pair 6 from the lead. Then comes Masoni and Kelly Leak on the inside. Monterey Jazz draws to a 1.5 length lead over Red Sun. A similar margin, Golden Balls. 2 lengths to Bold Chieftain at the 5/8 pole. Then comes Sir Al midfield inside of Run It. 3 lengths to Masoni and Kelly Leak at the tail of the field. It's a true pace, but not insane. Monterey Jazz leading them about 1.25 lengths mid-race from Red Sun, followed by Golden Balls, 2 lengths to Bold Chieftain. Sir Al 5th on the inside. He's attended closely by Run It, and they're clear of Masoni and Kelly Leak at the tail with 11 lengths to make up. Coming up to the 5/16 pole, and Monterey Jazz increases his lead to 2.5 lengths over Red Sun. Golden Balls, the lightly raced 6-year-old, is forwardly positioned on the inside from Bold Chieftain, and they're clear of Run It and Sir Al, Masoni and Kelly Leak. Monterey Jazz by 4 lengths coming to the 8th pole. Red Sun still second from Bold Chieftain and Golden Balls. Nothing coming from the second half of the field. Monterey Jazz shortening stride. Bold Chieftain's coming after him courageously. Bold Chieftain taking the lead. He's got his graded stakes triumph, and Russell Bays finally cracks it for the San Francisco Mile. Monterey Jazz second from Red Sun, Masoni. They're clear of Run It, and then comes Golden Balls. Kelly Leak towards the tail with Sir Al.
Bold Chieftain gets the win. One of those kind of underrated horses. He's been around a long time. He's 7 years old now. He's 17 for 35 lifetime. A testament to being well spotted and finding good places where this horse could run, and he seems to run on just about any surface. He did win the Sunshine Millions Classic 2 races back. Last time out, won an allowance race over a couple of the horses that found their way into this stake as well. And here he scores by 1/2 length over the front-running Monterey Jazz. Red Sun completes the order of the top 3 after chasing the pace early. Bold Chieftain is a 7-year-old dark bay brown son of Chief Seattle from Hooked on Music by Seattle Dancer. Bred in California by Ernest Langbine, William Morey, Kenneth Robinson, and Dwayne Hall. Owned by the breeders in partnership and trained by William Morey Jr. Ridden to victory by Russell Bays. Bold Chieftain covers the mile in 135.21. We'll pause for one more brief message. When we return, we'll be opening things up at Hollywood Park for their summer 2010 meet. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Horses and Courses. We'll continue now by opening up the Hollywood Park season. And we'll start things off last Thursday. Stakes racing action in the Harry Henson.
And there they go. Hollywood Harbor breaks best and goes for the front. Smiling Tiger facing an ace and Loxley Hall, and there goes Loxley Hall to take over the lead. Then Excessive Passion and Willie Conquer with Our Minesweeper, and to the outside, Big Man Has a Sign. Dixie Trooper and Majestic of Fleet at the back of the pack, and Loxley Hall leads them up the backstretch. It is Loxley Hall 3/4 of a length in front of Face and an Ace and Hollywood Harbor, who will be 3 wide. Smiling Tiger's at the rail. He's less than 2 from the front. Willie Conquer is 5th, and he's got 3.5 to make up. Then comes Excessive Passion, and at the rail, Big Man Has a Sign. Nice move to save ground around the far turn in the 56th Harry Henson Stakes. Majestic of Fleet is next, 2 back to Dixie Trooper, and the desperate trailer is Our Minesweeper, and the leader is Loxley Hall, and he's traveling smartly. Loxley Hall at the top of the stretch, a 2-length lead over Face and an Ace, and from the inside, Big Man Has a Sign. Smiling Tiger, Excessive Passion is lengthening his stride in the center of the race course. Here's Loxley Hall trying to hold off the Jeff Bondi trainees. Excessive Passion, Smiling Tiger, Loxley Hall, Excessive Passion! The 56th Harry Henson Stakes goes to Excessive Passion. Close for second, Loxley Hall and Smiling Tiger.
Excessive Passion gets the victory. That was his first start of the year. He's now 3 for 4 lifetime. His only loss coming in his most recent start, the Lost in the Fog Juvenile at Turf Paradise. But here he rallies nicely to win by a half over Loxley Hall. It was a noseback to Smiling Tiger in the 3rd spot. The winner, Excessive Passion, is a 3-year-old bay son of Vronsky from Ms. Hearts and Arrows by In Excess, bred in California by Old English Rancho and Baruman, owned by Rusty Brown, Philip Liebhertz, and Alan Klein, trained by Jeff Bondi, and ridden to victory by Martin Garcia. Excessive Passion moves on to the turf for the first time in his career, scores the victory going 6 in 108.93. We'll head into Saturday now, and we'll take a look at a couple of Calbred races from Saturday afternoon at Hollywood, kicking things off, 3-year-olds in the Snow Chief.
They're off. Alfie's Bet was a half step slow into stride. Working Capital and Cahill Country go for the front. Leaving New York shows speed. Straight to Midnight going to be 4 wide. Mr. Tokyo and Warren's Kong are next, then Self-Made. And the slow start has Alfie's Bet at the back of the pack. Working Capital sets sail to the backstretch with a lead by 1.25 from Leaving New York. And here's Travis Dunkelberger and Leaving New York draw within a half length of Working Capital. These two have sprinted 2.5 clear of Cahill Country. Long shot Straight to Midnight is placed 4th by Barrio. He is 5 off the lead. Mr. Tokyo's at the rail with 6 lengths to make up. Then it's another 5 or 6 back to Alfie's Bet and Self-Made. They race together about 12 from the front-running Working Capital, and the trailer is Warren's Kong, and they're midway on the backstretch. In the 18th TVG Snow Chief Stakes, and Working Capital tries to go it all the way. He goes to the half-mile pole with a 2.5 length lead now over Leaving New York. Cahill Country is being angled to the outside by Victor Espinoza, and San Francisco Invader Cahill Country in perfect striking position if he's good enough. Mr. Tokyo stays at the rail 4th, now only 3 off the lead. Straight to Midnight is all in. He's about to be passed by Alfie's Bet. Alfie's Bet is going to have to negotiate some traffic around the far turn. 3 back to Warren's Kong. Self-Made is the trailer, and the leader is still Working Capital. Alfie's Bet has found a seam. It's 3 wide, and here he comes. Alfie's Bet with a big turn of foot to engage Working Capital at the top of the stretch. Mr. Tokyo is 2 back in 3rd, then Cahill Country, and Alfie's Bet storms to the front. Alfie's Bet now a 1.5 lengths in front of Working Capital. To the outside, Cahill Country and Mr. Tokyo, but Alfie's Bet is just too good. And Alfie's Bet will win the 18th TVG Snow Chief Stakes. Hall of Famer Mike Smith and Alfie's Bet won it by better than 2. Working Capital, great second. Mr. Tokyo, 3rd. Cahill Country, finished 4th.
Alfie's Bet, you may remember him as the horse that won the Sham Stakes a couple of races back over Setsuko. Followed that up with a disappointing performance, 8 1/4 lengths behind Sydney's Candy in the Santa Anita Derby, and they decided to drop back a little bit and take on Calbreds in the Snow Chief, and it obviously turned out to be a good decision as they pick up the lion's share of the $200,000 purse money on offer. He scores by 2 1/4 lengths as the odds-on choice over long shot Working Capital, with an even bigger long shot Mr. Tokyo rounding out the top 3. Alfie's Bet is a 3-year-old based son of Tribal Rule from Miss Alfie by Candy's Gold. Bred in California by Teresa McWilliams, owned by Peter Johnson Sr. and Teresa McWilliams. Trained by Alexis Barba and ridden to victory by Mike Smith, Alfie's Bet covers the 9 furlongs in 151.15. Next up, 4 and up, going 7 1/2 furlongs for Calbreds in the Tisnow.
They're off. Liberian Freighter caught a flyer and goes right for the front from One Track Mind in second. Fantasy Free and Star Nicholas are away 3rd and 4th. Rush with Thunders at the rail 5th. Just outside of him, it's Earned Never Given. Best Dressed is second to last, and the early trailer is Mobilized, and One Track Mind and Liberian Freighter go very fast for 7 1/2 furlongs. One Track Mind determined to get the lead, and Rafael Bejarano is going to take the defending champ back and sit second with Liberian Freighter. He angles to the outside, and he's soon to re-engage. Liberian Freighter wants to go. Rush with Thunder has moved up to 3rd now, and he's only a 1.5 lengths from the lead. That leaves the rail open for Rush with Thunder, Stablemate, Fantasy Free. They're both 2 off the lead. Earn Never Given and Star Nicholas have 4 lengths to make up. It's 6 lengths to Mobilized and another 3 1/2 to Stretch Running Best Dressed. They leave the backstretch in the 8th Tisnow Stakes, and One Track Mind has a hard-fought neck in front. Liberian Freighter alongside. Rush with Thunder 3 deep. He's got a chance. Fantasy Free stays at the rail. He's in with a good chance too. Star Nicholas, Earn Never Given, Best Dressed and Mobilized, and they run to the top of the stretch. One Track Mind still just in front. Liberian Freighter set down for the drive. Fantasy Free slips through from the inside. Fantasy Free, Best Dressed is flying in the center of the racetrack. It is Fantasy Free, Mobilized, Best Dressed flies. Fantasy Free, Best Dressed, Fantasy Free. The 8th Tisnow Stakes goes to Fantasy Free. He held off Best Dressed, Mobilized, finished 3rd.
Fantasy Free gets the victory. A nice effort by this horse who had a perfect trip, made a nice bid to score by a 1/2 length over Best Dressed, who rallied strongly from off the pace 3 wide. Mobilized completes the order of the top 3. The winner, Fantasy Free, was claimed for $22,500 back in December, won a state-bred race in Allowance Company back in January. Last out was a close second in an open allowance, and here moves into state-bred company in the stakes side and picks up a nice stakes victory, and again, the lion's share of a big purse of $150,000. The winner, Fantasy Free, is a dark bay or brown gelding, a son of Freehouse from Cat Bellotto by St. Bellotto, bred in California by Katie Cowan and owned by local owner Roddy Valenti. Under Omar Barrio, Fantasy Free covers the 7 1/2 furlongs in 128.76. We'll continue now with stakes racing action from Hollywood. On Sunday, they were back on the turf, 1 1/16 for older horses in the Inglewood.
They're off. Acclamation and Rummy Secret War shows speed. Red Alert Day joins those two, and it's a very fast early pace. These 3 across the track. Gallant Sun comes away running in 4th, then Great Siege, and at the rail Dark Islander. Quindici Man is next, then Glowing Praise, and the early trailer is Lease of Life, and look at these 3 go to the backstretch. Going to be tough for any one of them to win going this fast. Rummy Secret War between horses. Red Alert Day to the outside. Acclamation backs off just a bit at the rail, but he's been part of this battle early, and they go extremely fast. It is 6 lengths back to Gallant Sun, who races in 4th. Then comes Great Siege. He's 5th at the rail and about 7 from the front. And on the front end, now it's just a match race. Acclamation has backed off. So now Red Alert Day and Rummy Secret More match strides and trade punches. Next, it's Glowing Praise at the rail. Lease of Life is outside of Quindici Man. Double digits from first to last in the 70th Inglewood Handicap. They go into the far turn. Rummy Secret War and Red Alert Day. These two have been at it since they sprung the latch 3 furlongs from the wire. Rummy Secret Secret War half ahead in front. Red Alert Day is a second. To the outside, Acclamation about to re-engage. Gallant Sun runs up 4 wide, but he's got a lot of momentum. New leader at the quarter pole, Gallant Sun, and he takes it over. Then comes Great Siege, 2.5 back, 2. Dark Islander and Quindici Man, and Gallant Sun made a big move, and he's in charge now. It is Gallant Sun, a length and 3/4 in front of Acclamation in second. Dark Islander and Great Siege chase him home. Quindici Man for a pace, but Gallant Sun is clear to the wire. Quindici Man, glowing praise. It is Gallant Sun. Yes! Gallant Sun wins the 70th Inglewood Handicap by 2. Quindici Man second, glowing praise third, close for fourth between Lease of Life and Acclamation.
Gallant Sun gets the victory. The horse that has kind of found his way into a couple of very competitive spots. His most recent try on the turf, however, was several races back when he was second to a very nice horse in the Usual QT. Since that time, he's run up against some pretty nice horses sprinting, including being beaten 2 in the Potrero Grande last time out. Here gets back onto the turf course and scores the victory over Longshot Quindici Man with glowing praise back in third. Gallant Sun is a dark bay or brown son of Malabar Gold from Explicitly by Exploit, bred in Kentucky by Tony Holmes and Highclere, owned by Chris and Diane Randall and trained by Frank Lucarelli. Ridden to victory by Mike Smith, Gallant Sun covers the mile in a 16th and 139.67. We'll head back home to New York now and finally, it seems, wrap things up for that long Aqueduct winter meeting. We end up the end of the month of April, so it does seem like it happened. It'll take forever to get through to the end of this year, but Aqueduct is done. We start Belmont next week. We close things out at Aqueduct with the Grade 3 Withers for 3-year-olds at a mile.
And they're off. And they all came away to a good start. IB Boy on the far outside. A Fleet again is in between horses. Castaneda now moves up, and it's Castaneda who's got the early lead. The gray, A Fleet again running in second. IB Boy on the outside in third. The Funny Bone now moves up down at the rail. Spangle Star is the trailer in fifth. It is Castaneda who leads by 2 lengths. A Fleet again, and IB Boy heads apart. The Funny Bone was moving up, then moved back, and is now up again. The Funny Bone moves into second. The quarter in 21 3/5 seconds. It's Castaneda on top by a length and a half. The Funny Bone looking to get off the rail. He's done so. He's on the outside now in second with IB Boy in third. The half mile, 43 4/5 seconds. Castaneda carving out these very fast fractions. He leads here by a half length over the Funny Bone. IB Boy is third. Farther back, A Fleet again, and Spangle Star, and they're at the top of the stretch. And 3/4 went in 107 2. Castaneda on the outside, IB Boy. In between horses, the Funny Bone. It's IB Boy with the lead. And here comes A Fleet again, charging on the outside. IB Boy in front. Here's A Fleet again. A Fleet again, and IB Boy. They come down to the line, and A Fleet again has upset the field in the Withers. 24-1 shot. A Fleet again wins. IB Boy was second, and Spangle Star finished third.
A Fleet again taking advantage of a tremendous pace setup here and scoring the victory from off the pace. Top of the stretch, he looked like he was pretty leg weary and going the wrong direction, but after having been involved out in the front, Castaneda started to fold things up, heavily favored the Funny Bone, who had kind of a strange trip. He kind of started to run up inside of horses going up the backstretch as they were exiting the chute. Suddenly took back. I don't know if Edgar Prado just decided he didn't want to keep him inside or what the problem was. I'm not quite sure why he was running up into such a fast pace. Nonetheless, it took its toll eventually. He did go up and challenge from fourth into the second spot, but he came up flat late when the real running got done. IB Boy actually looked like he might be home free, but A Fleet again under a persevering ride at 24-1 by Abel Mariano ends up pulling off the upset over IB Boy with another long shot, the longest shot on the board at 28-1, Spangled Star rounding out the top 3. The winner, A Fleet again, was beaten 24 lengths last time out by Awesome Act in the Gotham. Prior to that, he was an okay second behind Peppy Nose in the Whirlaway, so obviously he had run against some decent horses, but I think this was a perfect situation where the pace makes the race. The winner of Fleet Again is a gray-or-own son of a Fleet Alex from Lucky Again by Wild Again, bred in Kentucky by Roll Z Dice Racing Stable and owned by Cassius King Stable Limited, trained by Robert Reed Jr. and ridden to victory by Abel Mariano. A Fleet Again covers the mile in 134.05. That'll wrap up this edition of Horses and Courses. Thank you for joining us. We hope you'll be able to join us again next time as we take a look at stakes racing action from around the country. Of course, next week we'll have a very busy Kentucky Derby edition of Horses and Courses. We hope you'll be able to join us. Until then, I'm Jean Wood. Have a great week at the races.